as a mom, you just want to protect them and be there to watch her grow up, because we don't really know what the future holds. And I think that no family should have to be worried about that.
Make a difference. Become a partner today. Please donate now. Hey, darling, you always eating everyone Abuelita. You said just a bite. She serves us friends, neighbors, even the mailman. Good thing she shops and saves at Ben Dixon.
Let's get it. Now it's one quick check, the one and only. Move swiftly, speaker checking in for a daily. Move swiftly, thought giving your perspective on teamwork. You will not get anywhere else. We do not teach y'all to rise to the occasion, folks. What the hell do you teach then? Teach y'all to fall to your level of preparation. As you can see, I had to take it inside. I've made a rule for myself. If it gets below 50, I'm taking the run in.
There we go.
That's right.
Gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
It's supposed to be below 50. Another cold front out here in South Florida. So in order to avoid any colds or sickness or anything like that, you got to do what you got to do. You know, I started off gym like this, running an hour on the treadmill, I just knocked out another hour, and it felt great. Right? So all that being said, let's jump into top five Tuesday. Top five ways to remove ambiguity from your organization, remove it from your business, because that's this week's thing, is making sure we're clear and concise when it comes to the things that need to be understood by other human beings, especially considering the option that we now have to get AI and technology to replace your sorry ass. That's just the truth of it. The reality of the situation is right now, as we speak, there can be a business owner that's putting away enough money to find a bot, to find something that AI is doing, to find anything from a technology standpoint, any advancement in technology. They could find it and they can replace your sorry ass who's not producing results. And that's the reality. You got to make yourself stand out so you don't get replaced by technology. That's the reality of living in 2026. All right. So all that being said, let's jump into top five things. Top 5 ways to remove ambiguity from your business, and you can focus on the things that you need to focus on, which is getting to the bag, running up a bag, and getting to the profits. All right. So first thing, you have to have a strict system, an incredibly strict system. You see me run just like me. Every single morning, there's a strict routine that I follow every single morning in order to get to where it is I'm trying to get to. All right, a strict system is absolutely the very first thing you have to have within your own life, within your own mentality. It can't be wake up and scroll this and look how everybody else knows. It's wake up and get yourself in the right place mentally so you can do what it is you need to do to be successful that day. Just focus on being successful that day. All right, it's number one. Number two, it's important, the most important one, and the one that actually started this entire theme this week: remove all the male simps. All right, remove all the male simps. What I mean when I say male simps, I mean the men out there. I'm specifically calling out you men. All right, remove all the men out there who are more interested in coddling these women in the workplace and not actually getting results from these women. Just coddling them and doing whatever they tell you to do. No, remove the male simping from your business. Now, if you want to simp at home and do what you got to do at home with your girl or whatever, that's cool. But remove all the male simps from the business environment, from the work environment. All right? It's very important because I've seen it destroy organization. I've seen that individual. Again, there was nothing wrong with a lot of the businesses that I've seen fail. What was wrong with it was there was a male simp who decided to coddle women and kind of just give them breaks when they need to be absolutely need to be held accountable for some of the things that they created. Right? Next thing, you have to have a clear policy, clarity on the policy that is universal. You won't get pushback from people who are clear on policy and what exactly you need to be doing. Whatever the policy is, you have to have people humble themselves and adhere to the policy. All right, that's number 3. Now, number 4 on that end, you have to rationally and practically, we'll say rationally and practically, communicate the policy so people can at least, even if they're not hitting the standard, they're at least trying to somewhere in between, and they're working towards this. For example, if you know the speed limit is, let's say the speed limit is 65 on the freeway, right? If you actually go 65, you will probably never get to your destination. You will be, lagging behind traffic if you push into 75, 72. Now, if you go 90, 95, 100, but then you got a problem, right? But you're at least staying in that range. So communicate it in a rational way where you can practically and bring it to people. So we're at least working towards that, which brings me to number 5. And number 5 is to revisit the policy. You can always revisit the policy and revamp it for innovation, but it has to have 2 things. You have to have the answer to 2 things. You have to have the answer of how does it either make the business owner money or how is it saving the business owner money, which is saying the same thing. So if you want to revisit policy, let's say there's something in your job or something in your organization that you don't like the way it's being run because of whatever rule, you got to adhere to it because that's the policy. If you want to revisit it, you have to make a presentation that's going to, number 1, either make the business owner money, or number 2, save the business owner money, which is, again, essentially saying the 2 things, saying the 2 same things, just in a different way. All right, again, and as always, I'm going to do a deeper dive on all of these 5 points in the live stream today. So make sure you comment, like, subscribe, share this out, hit a like for it. Like I said, hit a like for the algorithm. We're growing. Shout out to the new subscribers. All right, so just to recap, Top 5 Tuesday, top 5 ways to remove ambiguity from your business so you do not get replaced by a bot. You do not get replaced so some business owner doesn't find some technology to replace your sorry ass with. Number 1, get a strict system. Number 2, remove all the male simps out there. Number 3, clarity on the policy that is in place. Number 4, you gotta practically and rationally explain the policy to people so they're at least, getting in the range of doing what it is they need to be doing. And number 5, if you want to revisit the policy, it has to have the answer to 2 questions. How does it make you money, or how does it save you money? Basically saying the same thing, but those questions need to be answered if you're going to revisit policy. Right? So all that being said, main website to check out to dive deeper into all my work, all things employee development. It's makeitmove.com. That's makeymove.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. At one Crookshank, All right,
if you look closely, I just want to kind of point this out. I know that it's kind of shining right here. I'm in a Starbucks, but if you look closely, I do actually have some hair. All right, just I got a nice clean fade, but if you look closer, if you get a little closer, it's still some there, still got some on top. And I'm not afraid of losing here, but I don't want to go all the way home. I want to make sure there's at least a little something there that you can, throw a little brush on and all that. So anyway, I had to get that out because I'm looking at it. I'm like, man, does it really look like I'm bald on camera? Anyway, all that being said, good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Again, as one Crookshank here, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, current 6-time published author and educator. I created this whole brand, this whole Plus LY brand, everything that you see me do that is all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and applying them to businesses and business owners so they have a staff and or a group of employees that moves as efficiently, as coherently, as passionately as a championship high school or youth football team. If you would like more information on that, just head over to makeymove.com. That's makeymove.com. All things employee development, real world employee development, practical performance. So we are preparing ourselves for what is here and what's going to happen to you if you do not get yourself together now and make yourself stand out in your place of work. And that can ruffle some feathers, that can cause a lot of problems. But if you don't do it, then you're going to get replaced by the things that are going on in the world. So head over to makeymove.com, get yourself a copy of my 6th book, How to Be a Wintrepreneur, where we break down 8 steps in terms of what it is you need to be doing to make yourself more valuable in the workplace. And also the articles that you see me go over and these articles that you see on my Medium account of 400 plus articles will also be included in that book in a way that's more, digestible for the physical copy. If you want the online stuff, head over to Medium. But if you are more of a physical reader, one person that likes to have the books in their hand and all that kind of stuff, then you'll have the physical copy of the book will be ready for you. So that's what we do around here in a nutshell. Let's jump into what we talked about. And you heard me allude to it a little bit on the Move Swiftly thought this morning. Top 5 ways to remove ambiguity. And we are continuing our conversation that we started yesterday in terms of ambiguity and what it means and how it's actually a slow killer of your organization. It really is. It really is. And it may not have been true or as true as it is today as it was 10, 15 years ago, when the only thing that we had when it comes to technology is social media. The only thing we had was, some Facebook this, but now we have AI and we have things that are actually doing the thinking for you. We have information at our fingertips and we can push a button and that information can be organized in a way that we're only getting the information that we need to know, the only the things that we need to know. So the business owner who has made tons of mistakes, tons of things that have gone wrong, they now have a way of preventing those mistakes by properly plugging them in the internet and getting what they want back and removing people that are costing them money. They're removing people that are costing them problems. And if you do not adjust to the technologies that we live in right now, you will be fucked. Straight up, you will be fucked, because if you don't stand out in a world that they can replace you with a bot, they can replace you with whatever the hell it is they want to replace you with, you will be fucked. So everything I'm going to tell you guys today, everything I'm going to walk you guys through today, you need to be taking notes. You need to be making sure you know exactly what it is you need to have done, so you can avoid having to remove people and kick people out on the street and trying to find a place in this world, to find a job in a place, in a world that is being taken over by technology. Right? So that's enough intro for now. Let's just jump into the article. All right. So top 5 ways to remove ambiguity from your business. That was one of my classic shots. This is what, 2 or 3 years ago now. About 2 or 3 years ago now. It's actually that was at the kidney walk, where I do all the warm-ups for a kidney walk in Fort Lauderdale implantation, and it's one of my favorites because that was the park in which I would train boxing. I would do my boxing training at that park and train some of the people that were members at 9 Round when COVID happened. So it's always been a special park to me. So this topic, all my topics are very important, but I just went with that today because we're teaching today. We're teaching evergreen material that you need to know. All right. So first of all, yesterday we defined what the problem is. Ambiguity is a lack of clear structure, expectations, and accountability. In 2026, with AI organizing information in seconds and social media giving everyone options, ambiguity is not accidental. It's tolerated. And tolerated ambiguity slowly destroys your business. All right. Today we remove it. Hear me. This part right here, it slowly destroys your business. You can be, let me just make sure you guys see me, hear me very clear on this. You can think that there can be some sort of innovation. You can think that something can be presented to you in a way that sounds like it's going to be productive towards your business, but it is not. It is not the case. It is not the case, because if it doesn't, and we're going to get into it in a second, but if it doesn't produce a result that's in alignment with the mission, hear me. All right. If whatever is being brought to the table doesn't produce a result that's in alignment with the mission and with the goal, it is not good for your organization. I want you guys to hear me very clearly. I spoke on it last week when we talked about front team workers, when I was a trainer at 9 Round, right? And again, the thing is, we want to have a universal boxing gym that everybody is going to be able to benefit from. All right. We had a trainer who looked very good on paper, did a lot of cool things when it comes to teaching people how to box and all that kind of stuff, but everybody wasn't on the level of being an amateur fighter. So we had to make sure we make accommodations and not just cater to certain members. That's why that gym is no longer in business. Okay. You got to understand that. You have to understand that, as yes, the person might have been good for the business, but it'll slowly destroy it when it's not benefiting a group of people. So very first thing, you got to get a very strict system, very, very strict, rigid system that, yeah, people are not going to like it. That's fair. They're not supposed to. They're not supposed to like it. It's not something that is meant for the majority of people to like. That is where a lot of you guys go wrong. They can't like it. If people like your strict system, then you're not doing something right. There's something wrong. Somebody should be complaining about it. There should be something that you put in your system that makes it so people say, oh, got to do it, but they know they got to do it. I mean, again, I come from the football world, right? We, 2-a-days, we wake our ass up in the morning, full pads in the hot summer days. We hate doing it. We hate having to go to practice in the morning, get a little rest, and then come right back a couple hours later. Come right back a couple hours later to do the same thing in the hot sun. It sucks, right? But we got to do it. Got to fucking do it because we got to go and compete in the fall with guys that are doing the same damn thing at their schools and they're getting better. We can't just sit back and watch folks get better than us. That's what we got to do. It's the same way in the workplace. There's a strict system that you need to absolutely put in place that cannot be tolerated. All right, if it is not followed. All right, let me jump into the words because I can go on a tangent with this. All right, so structure is not optional. It is protection. Yesterday, I referenced something simple, but it was very powerful. At the end of every month, I publicly give myself a letter grade and publicly state my goals for the next month. Why do I do that? Because public structure removes internal excuses. When February ended, I gave myself a B minus. Oh, well, again, February was still going on February, but I wrote it as if February has ended. So February has ended kind of in my mind already. February ended, I gave myself a B minus, not because I felt like it, but because the goals were written, the standard was visible, the results were measurable, the system forced clarity. Without it, I could easily say, it was a good month, or I grew in other ways, and next month will be better. No, ambiguity sounds positive. See, this is where they get you. This is where a lot of the race hustlers get you. Ambiguity sounds like it's positive, all right? But structure sounds uncomfortable. Structure produces growth. If your business doesn't have written metrics, written expectations, public accountability, scheduled evaluations, you don't have a system. You have vibes. Okay. I'm going to repeat that one. There's a lot of people say that bullshit. I hear that a lot. All right. I want to repeat that one. If your business does not have written metrics, written expectations, public accountability, scheduled evaluations, written metrics, written expectations, public accountability, and scheduled evaluations, you don't have a system. You got vibes. You don't want vibes. Vibes is for the club, and vibes is for, hanging out at the bar and all that. What you want is a business that has actual structure to it, and people know what the do's and don'ts are. People know, and they're strictly enforced. You don't want vibes. Vibes don't make you any damn money. Vibes are for the club. Got it? So you want a strict system. That's number one. All right. Number two, remove all the male simps. This actually, number two, is what got me on today's topic or this week's topic. Removing male simps. And actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do it so you guys can see it, because I literally went to Google and Googled the phrase male simps. And this is what, and I want you guys to read it with here. An AI overview of a male simp. Male simp is internet slang for a man who shows excessive sympathy, attention, or perform extravagant, often unreciprocated romantic gestures towards someone to gain affection or sexual favors, primarily targeting e-girls, celebrities, or crushes. This behavior is linked to lower self-esteem and in some cases exploitation. Yes, remove the male simp from your business. You heard that's a very accurate definition of what a male simp is. All right, now again in business, there's room for different types of male simps, but a male simp is a male simp, and you need to remove male simps from your business because nobody benefits from the male simp. All right, nobody benefits from the guy that is constantly coddling women in business. You just simply don't grow. And speaking of that gym, and I've spoken about this in the past, the reason that gym is no longer in business is because the owner was what I call a male simp. He'd be giving away free memberships to girls that he liked and giving away free boxing gloves to girls that he liked and things that over time you do it too much. Eventually you lose the structure and you lose the business. That's what happens, right? That's what happened. Not happened. So I lived through it, right? So a simp is a man who abandons the logic, right? Giving away free membership, structure, and standards in exchange for emotional validation, approval, or attention. Business, male simps are dangerous. They undermine structure to look like the good guy, override policy to protect feelings, insert themselves into situations that require accountability, and coddle instead of cultivate growth. Recently, there was an incident involving a decision to override structure and insert authority into something that I was already being worked through by people directly involved. The next day I spoke with the lead people, and we had a productive conversation. It led to clarity, it led to understanding, it led to growth. It also scheduled a meeting again. These are things I go through every day. Scheduled a meeting with Steve to explain what happened and why it mattered. And I'm actually recording this the day after we had that. And all of us are better because of it. All of us have a better understanding. All of us has improved. And the great thing about it, the incredible thing about this entire saga, I'm smart enough not to actually put names and faces to what I'm saying. But if you're listening, you know who you are. The great thing about this whole thing is the fact that I've lived through certain things that I could bring to my workplace now that'll keep us from going down a path that nobody wants to go down. Like I mentioned, I lived through a situation where the business went under because we had people that were not actually following policy. And because I lived through that, I can now warn other folks who have the power to say, hey, we're going in this direction. We got to stop it so it doesn't get to a point where all of us are out of a situation. That's when people start appreciating you. That's when people start appreciating the fact that you're around. That's when you start getting appreciated again. That's when you become what I talked about at the beginning. That's when you become irreplaceable. I don't care what the technology is. I don't care what AI does. I don't care what the bot is. When you start bringing your own experience, your own life, and hey, I'm looking out for you in a certain meeting, that's when certain people say, hey, these are the kind of people we're taking into the future, because at the end of the day, the decisions and the things that he or she is doing may not be the most popular things to do, but it has to get done to save all of our asses. That's called leadership. That's called accountability. That's called thinking 10, 15 years down the line when we're building a school in. And again, I'm referring to education because education is the cornerstone in which we're able to do a lot of these things. You have got to make uncomfortable decisions and be willing to remove friends and remove this part right here. The male simps got to go. All right, got to go. And exactly what happened if you want a healthy staff. And this part right here, a healthy staff is not going to just get healthy because you snap your fingers and you're solving all these problems. Right? All the problems get solved. A healthy staff comes through that friction. Healthy teams grow through friction. Male simps, they interrupt the friction. They think they're helping, they're not. They are stunting the development. And yes, there are plenty of them out there. And the reason, and again, I want to make sure I say this, and I'm on the record saying this as well. This is not limited to one organization. What I'm telling you is the things I'm telling you, I would say the same thing if these people were in front of me. It's not limited to one organization. What I'm speaking to you about is actually a situation where we have a cultural issue. So where if you don't nail it, and if you're a business owner that's dealing with it, if you're a business owner that's dealing with it, it does exactly what I'm telling you right now. It's stunting the development. There are plenty of them out there. Coddling women in the workplace does not make them, it makes them dependent. And dependency kills the leadership. If your business is full of men who bend structure to be liked, you don't have leadership. You have insecurity. Remove it. All right, remove it. That's the number one thing. Once you remove that, things just start happening the way they're supposed to happen. All right. Now, number 3, in order to remove it, part of the process of removing it is the clarity on policy. All right, clarity on policy. Let me just define policy. This right here removes bullshit. Straight up, it removes bullshit. By definition, a policy is a course or principle of action adopted or proposed by government, party, business, or individual. Proposed by government, party, business, or individual. It doesn't just have to be the government when it comes to policy. All right, it's proposed by whoever wants to propose and enforce policy. The key word in that definition is principle. Principles exist for the good of the group, not the comfort of an individual. Principles exist for the good of the group, not the comfort of the individual. When someone creates their own policy in the moment because it feels better, it's like this is what it's like. It's like taking the wheels off a car and expecting the ship to drive. Structure only works when it's consistent. All right. It's snack time, it's snack time, it's snack time. Meeting time is meeting time. Reporting procedures are reporting procedures. Then everyone knows where their lanes are. Ambiguity happens when rules bend depending on mood. Standards apply differently to different people. Policies exist but aren't enforced. Clarity protects the culture. Without it, frustration multiplies. That's what happens. That's what happens. It's like taking the wheels, literally. Again, go take the wheels off your car and go try to drive the shit. Go try to get to wherever it is you're trying to go to. It's not going to work. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. Now, number 4, because this is gonna also kind of, I wouldn't say contradicted, but also it's gonna create an opportunity for growth. Communicate this stuff rationally. When I say rationally, I mean actually in a practical way. Right? So there's always room for innovation. Always, as I've alluded to, there's technology, there's better ways of doing things. 1,000%. There's 1,000% always going to be a better way of doing things. It's going to happen. It exists. All right, but you have to start somewhere. But the innovation, it must serve the organization, not the ego or of the individual. Here's where the simps fall again. All right, this is why it's so important that you remove the simps here. Is they do what they think will make them accepted. They coddle, they overstep, and they override. Thinking it builds friendship doesn't. It builds quiet resentment and delayed disappointment. If you want to improve a system, bring logic, bring numbers, bring reasoning. There we go. Logic, numbers, reasoning. If you want to improve a system, explain why it benefits the organization, why it improves the efficiency, why it protects culture, why it aligns with mission. Communication must be rational, not emotional, not reactive, not personal. You can't explain the organizational benefit of your idea. It's probably self-serving. I want to say that one for the people in the back. If you cannot explain the organizational benefit for whatever you're bringing to the table, it is probably self-serving. There's a prime example right here. As you can see, I'm at a Starbucks, right? So I told them I'm going to be doing this show here at the Starbucks. I woke up a little earlier today, and again, I'm at the Starbucks because I usually do these either at the Starbucks or I can't do them at the place I used to do them a year ago, so we won't get into that. But anyway, when the person who decided that they were going to make these mugs, they explained, look, we can probably save X amount of dollars on these so we don't have to keep buying these paper cups that get thrown away every time we sell them. And they were able to explain how this benefits the actual organization. It's going to save us a certain amount of dollars per store, and money could go towards this, that, and the third. And now these are actually reusable for the people that do exactly what I'm doing right now. They want to sit down, have a conversation, and they want their coffee in a mug. That's what I mean. When you want to put it, when you want to improve something, you have to figure out how it's going to benefit the organization, not just benefit yourself. All right. Finally, and the saying that brings me to the final point for the day. If you want to revisit the policy, it needs to be based on finance. All right. It needs to, if it doesn't make, old saying, doesn't make money, doesn't make any fucking sense. If it doesn't save you money, it doesn't make any damn sense. You can't just throw out ideas out there without having thought about how it benefits the organization financially. Again, whether it's saving the organization money or it's making the organization money, which is basically saying the same thing. All right, let me jump into it. It's my final point. I'll close you guys out. The connective tissue between number one, which is strict system, number 3, which is clarity on policy, and number 4, which is the communication, of communicating it rationally. And again, we're removing the male sims. Hopefully you guys got my point when I said that. You need strict systems, you need clear policy, you need rational communication, but you also need room for innovation. And innovation must answer one question: does it save the organization money or does it make the organization money? If the answer is neither, it's just a distraction. I'm gonna let that sit. Let that sit for you. Okay. If the answer, I'm gonna ask the question again. I'm gonna let it sit for you to kind of just let it marinate for a little bit. Does it save the organization money or does it make the organization money? If the answer is neither, It's a distraction. It's a distraction. You're just distracted. You're just talking shit at that point, right? You're not actually saying anything. If you're trying to revisit some rule and you haven't figured out how it's either saving or making the organization money, you're just talking. You're just talking. It's not going to work. Okay. So the policies should not be revisited because someone feels uncomfortable. They should be revisited because there's a measurable inefficiency. There's a financial leakage. There's an opportunity for profit. If an innovator comes up with a proposal, it must be framed in financial terms, savings, revenue, efficiency. Otherwise, it's not strategic. It's just noise. Okay. Final thought. Ambiguity destroys businesses because it protects weak leadership and insecure decision making. Clarity does the opposite. It forces the accountability, exposes the insecurity, strengthens the team, builds the financial stability. If your organization feels tense, if conversations feel political, if people operate emotionally instead of structurally, you don't have a people problem. You have an ambiguity problem. And ambiguity is always a leadership problem first. Remove it, or it will remove you. All right. So, ready to remove your ambiguity from your organization? If you're a business owner, school leader, or an executive who knows your culture is being slowly eroded by unclear structure and weak accountability, let's fix it. Book a strategy session, as1c.com. All of that is available here on AS1. Your strategic financial partner. Again, we have all things employee development here. Let me just run through the 5 one more time just to recap. Again, top 5 ways to remove ambiguity from your business. Number 1, get a strict system. Number 2, remove all the male sims. Number 3, get clarity on the policy. Number 4, communicate it rationally. And number 5, revisit policy only based on the financial terms, all right? Only based on finances, and you will see your business thriving if you start to really ask yourself the question, am I doing what I got to do? Remove all the confusion and remove all of the personal feelings that, again, it's not that they're not important, but they're not going to help us move forward based on personal feelings. We got to get surgical in terms of how we structure our systems and how we hold people accountable within our system. So all that being said, again, main website to check out to dive deeper into all the things we do, all things employee development at makeitmove.com. That's MakeYamobe.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one person, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.